Lexington police are investigating a hit and run after a sanitation worker was hit by a car this morning.
He says the charges should be dropped because of a Kentucky law dating back to the 1800s.
Tonight,
it is shaping up to be a snowy evening. That's how we're starting our weekend across central and eastern Kentucky. Coming up next, we'll tell you how much snow falls where you live.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
And good evening. As we head into the weekend, many areas of bluegrass could see measurable snow for the first time in about 2 months.
Yeah, some flakes have actually been coming down in Lexington for the last couple of hours. Take a look. This is a live picture now from Man o' War and Sir Barton Way in Hamburg, and you can see some flakes flying there, possibly in the sky right now. We're not seeing many problems, though, but that could change come later tonight, and that is why we have declared a first alert severe weather day. We begin with WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey, who is tracking the snowfall for us on the First Alert Defender.
Yeah, guys, and you know what? I'm looking at our live sky cam, and that shot you were just seeing out of Hamburg is somewhere in the distance, not even a mile away from where we are, and we cannot see Hamburg Pavilion here because it is snowing so hard in Lexington. A little sleet mixed in as everything now begins to turn white. 32 degrees. That is important because it's the freezing mark. So those bridges and overpasses may begin to have some icy spots developing on those as we go through the next little bit. Here's live First Alert Defender across the downtown Lexington area, all of Fayette County seeing the snow, all of the Lexington Metro seeing the snow as well. And this is a band of some sleet and snow. It's actually showing up as rain here, but it's only because temperatures are very close to that freezing mark. But this is a heavier band that is lifting in from the south now, and that extends back toward the southwest, where I'm getting a lot of reports of some quarter to $half size snowflakes that are breaking out. That'll continue to work across Lexington Metro into parts of northeastern Kentucky. That'll be the prime corridor as we go through the next several hours, because look at Defender. I mean, this snow goes all the way back into western Kentucky. Everything in motion. So I've highlighted this particular area for a heavy band of snow over the next several hours. And guys, it's a heavy wet snow that is coming down that may add up to the tune of 1 inch, 2, maybe a local 3-inch amount. A lot of that on the grassy and elevated surfaces. This is an overachiever in terms of snow that is setting up across the region right now.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, compared to last year, it's been pretty uneventful so far for road crews here in Kentucky, but again, that could change tonight.
Road crews down in southern Kentucky are getting ready to head out in case the roads do become slick. Our Phil Pendleton is there. He shows us how they're preparing to treat the roads. He continues our First Alert weather team coverage.
Mid-morning Friday, a tease of what's possibly to come.
We're well prepared.
Wheel and tire work done, the salt dome full. Right now, it's all about the waiting.
5 pickups that we use in the subdivisions to salt, and we've got 12 bigger trucks with snow blades on them. We got 4 graders.
Should a significant snowfall arrive, more salt is on standby.
We've got 300 or 400 ton in the dry here, and we've got another 100 ton that is waiting to be delivered from Louisville.
Men came in this afternoon with the knowledge they could pull a marathon shift.
We don't work anyone any longer than a 16-hour shift.
Turner has 26 years experience in this line of work, and he says his crew has done this thing many times before.
It's part of the job. That's what we're here to do.
Well, I was looking through some of the stories I did about this time last year, and it's interesting because in many of those instances, I was interviewing some of these same people about salt shortages. But yet this year, many of these people tell me they haven't even touched their salt supplies yet this calendar year. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And Pulaski County's road department says it could cover 2,000 miles of road if necessary while removing the snow. And as the snow falls here in Lexington, you might have seen some road crews out there already. The deputy director of Lexington Streets and Roads says crews have been out treating some roads and bridges. They were doing that before rush hour, he says. He says they have plenty of salt on hand to help fight these slick roads. The crews say they wanted to get some salt down as soon as possible, even if the snow was not sticking to the roads just yet.
But the road temperatures are pretty warm, as you can see. You know, it's melting on contact. You know, and of course the concern is water on the road as the sun goes down, and precipitation may freeze that has melted during the day.
Allen says they also have crews coming in overnight to monitor the situation.
And remember, you can always track severe weather when you're away from your TV with WKYT.com and on the WKYT First Alert Defender radar app for your iPad or your smartphone. And be sure to help us track the snow. Just send us your photos and videos and use the hashtag WKYTRulesWinter. It is a story that we've been telling you about this week. A Kentucky state senator arrested and charged with DUI, and tonight he is speaking out for the first time after asking a judge to drop the charges because of a more than 100-year-old Kentucky law.
This morning, State Senator Brandon Smith unexpectedly showed up to WYMT, our sister station in Hazard, he says, to tell his side of the story. Yesterday, his attorney cited the statute in the Kentucky Constitution. It says members of the General Assembly will be privileged from arrest during the legislative session, except in cases of treason, felony, breach, or surety of the peace. Today, Smith told WYMT he was not drinking the night of the arrest, and he says the 1891 law is not there to let people to get off the hook, but he says it is protection for political targeting.
I do not think somebody should be able to use this to protect guilty people. I don't think you should be able to just walk away with some sort of a privilege, and most people that know me know that's the case.
You can hear more from Smith's exclusive interview coming up on WKYT News at 6 o'clock. As we said, the law Smith is citing to try and dismiss his DUI charge dates back to the 1800s. But as Victor Puente found out, the rule started as a way to deal with abuses of the legal system and prevent lawmakers from being targeted. He joins us now from the live desk. Victor?
Well, it's been part of the Kentucky Constitution since 1891. State Senator Brandon Smith's attorney says the rule prevents his client from being arrested. Earlier today, I spoke to a history professor at the University of Kentucky who explained why it's on the books and how it was originally intended to be used. Associate Professor Stephen Voss says the idea of legislative immunity goes back to before the U.S. Constitution.
It grew out of abuses of the legal system by kings of England, among other sources.
He says in those days, before our legal system had been firmly established, people who disagreed with a lawmaker's position would do whatever they could to make sure they didn't get a chance to vote.
They'd have arrested members of legislatures who weren't on their side.
So as states began writing their own constitutions, they often copied the language found in others.
Every state has the same concept, but it's worded a little differently. So only a lawyer or a judge can tell you what the Kentucky provisions are going to mean.
Section 43 of Kentucky's Constitution states, quote, "The members of the General Assembly shall in all cases except treason, felony, breach or surety of the peace be privileged from arrest during their attendance on the sessions of their respective houses." Voss says he isn't aware of the rule being invoked recently, says it's not his opinion of the law that matters.
Unless you're the judges who will have to decide what it means, you really can't authoritatively say now what that language means.
The judge in Smith's case agreed to consider his attorney's motion and delayed the case. At the live desk, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. Smith serves District 30, which includes Bell, Breathitt, Johnson, Leslie, Magoffin, and Perry counties.
Today, the United States Senate adopted a resolution honoring former Kentucky Governor and U.S. Senator Wendell Ford. Ford died yesterday at his home in Owensboro. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and U.S. Senator Rand Paul sponsored the resolution, which was adopted unanimously. The Senate also adjourned in Ford's memory. Ford will lie in state at the state capitol in Frankfort Sunday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. A public memorial service is scheduled for 3 p.m. Ford's funeral is set for 11 a.m. on Tuesday in Owensboro.
Lexington police are investigating a hit and run that sent a sanitation worker to the hospital. It happened just after 8 this morning on Mount McKinley Way, just off of Man o' War Boulevard. WKYT's Hillary Thornton talked with the woman who called for help.
Folks living on Mount McKinley Way say the garbage truck was running just like every other Friday when they heard something that was not normal.
Started hearing screaming, and I was like, what in the world is going on? So I looked outside my window and I saw a guy just laying there screaming and screaming and screaming. You know, I ran, grabbed my house phone. I ran out there, called 911, and his partner said, you know, he got hit by a car.
The woman who called 911 does not want to be shown on camera, but she says the worker was picking up a large box off the curb across from her home when a car hit him, then took off, leaving the worker with a severe leg injury.
Felt bad, because it's like, he's just doing his job, going on with his day, and then he gets hit by a car, and You know, nobody knows really what happened except his partner.
Police say the partner describes the vehicle as a gold Chevy Malibu or a Toyota.
It's like disheartening because he's in so much pain, but you can't, you know, help him. I can't take the pain away, you know. You just have to just hang out by him, just try to console him, which I did. You know, I said, hey, it's going to be okay. We're going to get you help. You're going to be all right.
A gold Chevy Malibu was found parked in the area. Police are working to figure out if it is the vehicle involved. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
That Chevy Malibu was towed from the area by Lexington police for more investigation. The name of the injured worker has not been released.
The United States top diplomat to Latin America met with the press today in Havana to discuss the progress made in this week's historic talks between the U.S. and Cuba.
She also addressed the challenges ahead. Adriana Diaz reports from Havana.
Assistant Secretary of State Roberta Jacobson gave encouragement to some of Cuba's most prominent political dissidents. She hosted a breakfast for them in Havana following groundbreaking talks with Cuban diplomats.
It is crucial that we will continue to both speak out about human rights publicly and directly now with the Cuban government.
Jacobson told reporters in Havana, while negotiations were cordial and respectful, it's a long road ahead.
I've learned in diplomacy for the number of years that I've been involved that it's never a good idea to draw your conclusions after a first conversation.
Renewed ties with the U.S. is big news for Cuban tourism. Owners of Cuba's growing number of casa particulares, or bed and breakfasts like this one, are watching closely.
The one room that we rent.
Juan Carlos Granjed rents this bedroom to tourists. It's his family's only income. What is a happy end for you?
That we could establish relationship between the two governments and they lift the embargo.
Juan Carlos says if the remaining travel restrictions are lifted, he would welcome as many Americans as he can fit. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Havana.
Jacobson said today differences separate the U.S. and Cuban governments and that embassies by themselves would not help normalize ties. With just over a week to go before the Super Bowl, the NFL continues its investigation into the New England Patriots. And today the league announced there is no timetable for resolving that investigation. Now, this comes after accusations the Patriots used underinflated footballs during the first half of last weekend's championship game against the Colts. The NFL has hired an investigation team to review electronic and video information. Health officials in California now have a warning out for parents. A measles outbreak linked to Disneyland is spreading outside California. California officials say that 42 in-state measles cases since December can be connected to the theme park. Another 9 have been diagnosed outside California, including 1 in Mexico. The state is urging all children less than a year old and those who never received a measles vaccination to avoid Disneyland. Officials say the theme park is safe for those who have been vaccinated.
We want to pass along a breaking traffic alert to you. Westbound I-64 is closed near mile marker 36 in Shelby County because of a deadly crash.
If you're heading to Louisville tonight, you may want to find an alternate route there. No word yet on when the road will reopen. We'll try to keep you updated on that. Tonight,
it is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. A new study in the journal Lancet says a device to lower high blood pressure is showing great promise. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
62-year-old Peter Hunt says life in his English village is more enjoyable now that he's found a way to keep his resistant high blood pressure under control.
It stops you thinking to yourself, oh God, blood pressure's up again, why is it up again?
Doctors at Queen Mary University of London implanted this tiny device called the coupler into Peter's upper thigh in a clinical trial that began 2 years ago.
Less than the size of a small paperclip.
The coupler diverts blood to a nearby vein, relieving the strain on the artery and reducing the heart's workload.
The patients were feeding back to us that they had substantial blood pressure lowering, and we're asking for their medicines to be reduced.
Researchers here in London and across Europe recruited about 80 patients for the study, most in their late 50s who were taking at least 5 blood pressure medications. Patients with the coupler also had fewer complications and went to the hospital less often for high blood pressure problems. Peter says the only side effect he's had from the device is some swelling in his leg. Doctors say it will be several more years before the device is available to patients. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
U.S. trials on the coupler are expected to begin later this year. A 13-year-old Lego robotics fan is pretty inventive. Instead of building a robot, the California teenager built a Braille printer that could potentially help millions of disabled people. He calls it Brago. With a little help from his dad, he patented the machine and started his own company called Brago Labs. The machine cost just $350. Braille printers typically run for $2,000. The teenager already has mega partners in Silicon Valley. He says it's not the money that inspired him to invent this machine.
I don't really care about money, I just care about the lives that I'm potentially helping.
He's trying to develop a product that is going to have a social impact.
Well, that printer is expected to go on sale later this year. Good for that young man. And Google could be getting into the wireless service business. Multiple reports say that Google will begin selling cell phone service along with its popular Android smartphones. The wireless service would be carried over Sprint and T-Mobile networks. Google has not commented, though, on the reports. For more health, education, and consumer news, just go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living.